Have you ever found some really profound wisdom in a place you didn't expect it at all? Not from a famous book or some big lecture, but from someone whose life seemed, well, pretty ordinary on the surface. Today, we're going to dive into an ancient story that is all about that. A really powerful lesson about mentorship, mastery, and what compassion truly means. So this is the big question, right? This is what drives the whole story. It's a huge question, one that has sent countless people on quests for meaning their entire lives. And it's the very same one that set a young pilgrim named Sudhana on a journey that was going to change absolutely everything for him. All right, so let's set the scene here. Our story is all about this young guy, Sudhana, and he is on a mission. He is just burning with this desire to understand a deeper way of living. And look, this isn't some casual backpacking trip. Sudhana is totally single-minded about this. He is looking for masters, for real teachers who can show him the path of a bodhisattva. That's someone who dedicates their entire life to the enlightenment of everyone. He goes up to every teacher he can find with that same urgent question, just hoping to find the key. So, after a bunch of encounters, Sudhana is guided to his next potential teacher. But this master, well, he isn't meditating in some remote monastery or living in a fancy palace. Nope, he's somewhere completely different. He gets to this bustling coastal city. The air is thick with the smell of salt and trade, and he's searching for this renowned sage, this person of great spiritual insight. And who does he find? He finds Vasira, a ferryman, just standing there on the shore surrounded by literally hundreds of merchants in this massive crowd. But instead of lecturing on old scriptures, Vasira is explaining the laws of the ocean. This is so not the scene Sudhana was expecting, but he has this feeling he's in exactly the right place. So without any hesitation, Sudhana just walks up, bows, and puts his whole heart into this question. He's not asking for some abstract secret of the universe. He wants to know how to live it, how to actually practice this path of service. And Vazir's response is just immediate and so profound. He doesn't start with some complicated philosophy. He starts with something much more fundamental. Real, practical, active compassion. The first thing he does is validate Sudhana's quest. He sees the power and the purity in the question itself. He tells him that just by asking it, he is already on the path to this great treasure island of wisdom. What a beautiful affirmation, right? So how does Vasira actually do it? How does he help people? He lays out this brilliantly simple twofold method. First, he says, he takes care of people's worldly needs. He doesn't try to teach a hungry person about enlightenment. First, he helps them get stable. And only then, once their basic needs are met, does he offer them the treasure of Dharma, the spiritual teachings that can plant the seed for real, lasting growth. Okay, and this is where the ferryman's lesson gets really fascinating. See, his everyday job isn't separate from his spiritual practice. It is his spiritual practice. He uses the ocean as the ultimate metaphor for life itself. This is where you see the two sides of Vasira's genius. His deep, practical knowledge of the physical sea perfectly mirrors his understanding of the spiritual one. And this isn't just some clever analogy. It's a profound teaching method. He uses the language of the sea, the tides, the currents, the treasure islands, to explain the flow of human nature, of karma, of the path to wisdom. Teaching merchants how to avoid whirlpools at sea is the perfect way to teach them how to avoid the mental traps of greed and delusion in their own lives. And make no mistake, he is a true master of his craft. The original text gives us these incredible details. He can read the stars, the sun, the color of the water, the way the wind feels. He knows every single piece of his ship. He knows when to set sail, and just as important, he knows when to stay safely in port. His wisdom is so grounded in real, tangible expertise. And that right there, that brilliantly illustrates the core of his teaching. His true skill isn't just sailing ships. It's using that same deep awareness and practical wisdom to help people navigate the far more complex, far more treacherous ocean of human existence. He meets them right where they are and uses their world to explain a path beyond it. So what's the end game here? What is the ultimate result of meeting a teacher like this? What's the real treasure he's offering to the people he helps? Wow. That is such a powerful statement. Vasira promises that a true encounter with his teaching does something fundamental. It removes fear. That constant anxiety about suffering, about the endless cycles of life and death, he's saying that fear can actually be dissolved. And the effects, they go even deeper. He says his guidance helps you enter this vast sea of wisdom. It helps you extinguish the all-consuming sea of desires, and finally, and the overwhelming sea of suffering. With this new inner compass, you basically gain the freedom to navigate anywhere, to journey to any shore you choose. But even after sharing all of this profound wisdom, the ferryman's final lesson is maybe the most important one of all. It's a lesson in humility. In a true act of mastery, Visera doesn't claim to have all the answers. He explains that his method, what he calls the Great Compassion Banner, is simply what he knows. It's powerful for sure, but it's just one part of a much, much larger journey. And so, he points Sudhana onward, to the south, to find his next teacher. So, Sudhana didn't get some final, ultimate answer from Visera. Instead, he received something just as valuable. His compassion was totally renewed, he gained this profound wisdom about what skillful practice really looks like, and his resolve, his determination to continue his quest, was stronger than ever. Just overwhelmed with gratitude, Sudhana bows one last time and continues on his way. He doesn't leave with a finished map, but he leaves with a much better compass, and his mind is like this fertile garden, totally ready for the seeds of wisdom that his next encounter is going to bring. And that kind of brings it all back to us, doesn't it? This ancient story feels so timeless because it reminds us that wisdom isn't always where we expect to find it. It's often found in the mastery and the compassion and the humility of everyday people just doing their work with incredible care. So it makes you wonder, who were the ferrymen in your own life?